welcome to Week 16 of the NFL Contest Show. I'm your host, Jesse Flynn. I'm back from my 2-week hiatus, all moved into the new location here in Lake Tahoe, and ready and set up for the rest of the NFL season, and so we can transition right into the playoffs. The last 2 weeks, Week 14, ended up going 4-1. Finally got off of that nasty losing streak. Last week ended up going 3-2. So we're sitting right now on the season 37-1. So no real chance of making the full season money, but there's a good chance if we can go a couple of good weeks towards the end of the season, we can maybe cash in the fourth quarter, as there's only 3 entries that are sitting at 10-0 and around 30 that are sitting with 9 points. So we're right there. Just need to get one of those elusive 5-0s. And that way we'll have something interesting to look forward to for the final 2 weeks of the Circa Millions contest. But it's Week 16. The NFL season is getting really exciting. As of the end of the Thursday night game between the Jags and the Jets, I believe only 6 teams have been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So a lot of teams with still something to play for, still have a pulse in the playoff picture, and it makes for some exciting games. Teams aren't going to lay down and try to just make it through the season without any injury. They're going to actually go out there and compete, which makes it good for us as bettors because we can be able to look at these games as competitive matchups as opposed to teams that are already thrown in the towel. But Week 16, some good games, some interesting matchups, some decent-sized point spreads in some of these games. And we've seen some line movement as we've had some injury news come in. But I've got my 5 picks for Week 16, so let's get into it and see which ones I've chosen for this week. So the first game is the Washington Commanders +7 heading out to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. These two teams they're about mirror images of each other. I mean, some of Washington's statistics are kind of misleading because a lot of those games were with Carson Wentz, but since Tyler Heineke's taken over as the quarterback, they've been on a pretty good run here for the season, and they've gotten themselves right into the wild card playoff contention. So this should be a good game to watch. This is 2 really good defenses going up against one another, and 2 offenses they've got really good skill position players. Now, obviously, San Francisco is going to be without Deebo Samuel. It looks like he's not practicing up to this point, and they've got Brock Purdy, their third-string quarterback, starting for them for the last 2 weeks. But Washington, their wide receiver core, they're one of the best in the NFL as a group with McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel. I really like them. I mean, they're up there with the Bengals, and the Dolphins, those type of teams as far as wide receiver groups as a whole. And Brian Robinson, their running back, he's playing well. Gibson's really good in the pass game. I like the offense for Washington in this game, even though they're going up against this really strong San Francisco game. The total for this game, I believe, is 37.5. So the books aren't really expecting a lot of points in this game. And if you're going to give me a full touchdown with a team with really good offensive skill position players and a good defense, the defensive line that can get after the quarterback by only rushing 4. They don't have to blitz, so they can play the gaps in the run game, and they can also fall back to try to take away the quick passing game that San Francisco likes to use. And Brock Purdy, he's kept the boat, he's kept them, going in a straight line the last 2 weeks, but now teams have 2 games of film to watch. And I think Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio, they'll have a good defensive scheme to try to confuse the rookie quarterback and maybe get him to make some mistakes. And, if they can do that and maybe, get some cheap points, I think they got a real good shot at winning this game outright. Washington really needs this game if they're going to stay in the wild card, because there's no way they're winning the East Division with the Eagles and the Cowboys both, and the Giants. All three teams are right in it, but the Eagles, I think they've already won the division, so if not, they could probably win it this week. But so there's no way they're winning the division, so they're fighting for a wild card spot. So Washington's going to come out there. They're going to give their best effort, and I think they'll do it. Heineke, he keeps them in games. He does make some questionable plays from time to time, but as he's progressed throughout the season, he's gotten more and more comfortable in the offense, and he's looking like an actual starting quarterback. And again, with their skill position players and their really good defense, I just think 7 points is way too much to be giving this team, even though they're on the road in San Francisco. This line's already moved from 7 to 6.5. So there's money coming in on Washington, enough to move it off that key number of 7. But again, I like them to win this game straight up. I've actually put a little bit of money on the money line as well as the +7. So, in the contest, it's +7. It's moved to 6.5 now in the betting market. I got it before it moved, but I also bet the money line, and I think they really can win this game. So, giving me 7 points with a team with a really good offense and a really good defense, I'll take it. So for my first pick, give me the Washington Commanders +7. So my second pick is the Philadelphia Eagles +5.5, going down to Dallas to take on their division rival Cowboys. Now Jalen Hurts is out for this game, so it's going to be Gardner Minshew playing for the Eagles, starting at quarterback. But you have that injured player theory where the rest of the team typically picks up its play when there's a key player is out, like the quarterback. And Gardner Minshew's been in this offense for a couple of seasons now. He's practiced with these players before. They know him. He's played in this offense, and this may be the best group of skill position players he's had at his disposal since he came into the NFL. And he's a serviceable backup quarterback. He will come in and he will keep you in games, and give your team an opportunity to win. So you're getting 5.5 points against a Dallas Cowboys team. We saw them last week get out to a big lead against Jacksonville, ended up giving up that lead and lost in overtime. Dak Prescott just has not looked like himself the last few weeks. He threw that pick 6 to cost them the game against the Jags last week. And it just looks like, I don't know, they look a little out of it at times. Like they'll look like world beaters one minute, and then the next minute they look, like a mistake-prone team. So you just don't know what you're getting with this Dallas Cowboys offense. And the defense has kind of started to regress a little bit, and they're dealing with some injuries. Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs both came up on the injury report with illness. And even though they'll probably end up playing in the game, if they're sick with the flu or some kind of bug like that, their stamina, if they're dehydrated from being sick, may end up catching up with them later on in this game, and we could see fatigue become a factor. Leighton Vander Esch, I believe, is going to be out. He's got something up with his neck. So they're going to be missing quite a few big players in this game, particularly for a team that's probably going to run the ball with the Eagles. With Hurts being out, I'm sure they'll try to lean more into the run to try to, eat up the clock, slow down the pace of the game, not ask Gardner Minshew to do too much, and keep the offense of the Cowboys on the sidelines. We know the Cowboys are weak against the run anyway, and now without those key players, or those key players being 100%, they could even be more susceptible to a heavy dose of the run by the Eagles. And with the Cowboys offense, they want to run the ball to set up play action, Well, the Eagles are one of the best teams against the run, and they've also got top-notch secondary. So it's going to be tough sledding for the Cowboys against this defense. And you're getting 5.5 points in the contest. This line's already moved to 4.5 in the betting market. So the sharps or big bettors have already come in on the Eagles with the 5.5. Excuse me, with 5.5, and now they're, so you're getting a point of value by going with the Eagles. But I personally think the Eagles have a really good shot to win this game straight up. Again, Gardner Minshew, I think there's a little overreaction to the drop off from Hurts to Minshew. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal with Minshew being very familiar with the offense, having been on this team for a couple seasons now, and again, having the best group of offensive skill players at his disposal. Again, this is another low total, I believe under 40. So again, they're not expecting a high scoring game, and you're getting 5.5 points, which is, it's in that dead zone. It's under 6, but with the weather, well, in Dallas the weather's not going to be an issue. So it's just that number is, it's kind of in a strange zone, but we've seen teams go for 2. We've seen miss extra points. So those odd numbers are actually starting to become more common throughout this season anyway than they were in seasons past. So getting that extra hook with the 5.5 and now it being at 4.5 in the markets, it's just an extra bonus to a team that I think has a real good shot at winning this game straight up. So for my second pick, give me the Philadelphia Eagles plus 5.5. So my third pick is the Green Bay Packers plus 3.5 going down to South Beach to take on the Miami Dolphins. This is another game with two teams that are in must-win situations. The Green Bay Packers kept their playoff hopes alive with their win on Monday night against the Rams. But they've got to win out the rest of the season in order to have any shot at making the playoffs. Same thing pretty much goes for the Miami Dolphins, as I don't think they have any shot of winning the AFC East, so they're fighting for one of the 3 wild card spots as well. So this should be a great game to watch with two teams that are kind of going in different directions. The Dolphins have been sliding, going down a little bit the last couple of weeks, while the Green Bay Packers have started to show signs of life here in this, on death ground as far as their season goes. And, I like the Packers. I think they are getting it right at, I don't want to say the right time, but they're getting it right when they need it the most, which is right now when they've got to win the rest of the remaining games. Their offense has finally started to show some life in the passing game with their wide receivers finally healthy, and they're finally getting in sync with one another. Christian Watson starting to show why he was such a high draft pick. Dobbs is playing well. Lazard's playing well. And then they've got the dual-headed running game of Jones and Dillon. And both of those players can catch the ball pretty well out of the backfield as well. So the offense is starting to show signs of life. And the defense has played well most of the season. They've been really strong against the pass. They've struggled against the run, but that's a good matchup against the Dolphins, who want to throw the ball as much as possible, and they really aren't very good at running the ball at all. So that's a good matchup for the Green Bay Packers in this game. They're going down to South Beach, playing in Miami, but the weather, it's only supposed to be around 60 degrees, so the heat and humidity shouldn't be a factor in this game. The Dolphins, they lost last week in that tough game in Buffalo, division game, and there could be a little hangover from that game coming home, and they may struggle against this Green Bay defense. I think the total's at 50 right now. So they are expecting some points in this game, but I think there's going to be points from both sides. We'll see some shots through the air, but I expect the Green Bay Packers to be able to score points against this Miami Dolphins defense. I think with Rodgers, you just can't count them out. You're getting over a field goal in this game on the road. Road dogs getting point. They've been really good this year against the spread. So I just think it's a good spot for the Packers. I really like them to actually win this game outright. Like I said, I just think their offense is finally clicking at this desperate time. And you just can't count out Aaron Rodgers in these situations. This is when this guy just plays as the elite two-time back-to-back reigning MVP that he is. And when he's finally got guys that he trusts on the offensive side of the ball, he's a dangerous guy. And I just think that this is a game where they're going to pull off the upset. They're going to win this game outright. So giving me 3.5 points. I mean, in the market, it's moved to 4, so there is money coming in on Miami. But I got to go with Aaron Rodgers in this one. So for my third pick, give me the Green Bay Packers plus 3.5. So my fourth pick is the Atlanta Falcons plus 6.5 going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. This is two teams that really like to run the ball, use up a lot of clock, maintain possession, try to limit the other team's possessions and the amount of plays they have in the game. The books have set the total for this game at 34.5, so they are not expecting a lot of points in this game. And I don't see how the Baltimore Ravens are going to get enough separation from the Falcons to cover this 6.5 point spread. I just think it's too much. Desmond Ridder, he'll be making his second start. Last week was his first start as an NFL quarterback in a very hostile environment, division rival on the road. Your main team that you can't stand. So that was just a really difficult spot for him to step into. And other than a few mistakes, he played okay. I mean, they didn't end up winning the game, but they did cover the spread. Gave him an opportunity to have a shot at the end, but they didn't end up pulling through. But I think with him getting another game under his belt, he'll have some more confidence. And I just don't see how Baltimore's gonna get away from the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, with Tyler Huntley, in his 3 starts for the Baltimore Ravens, they've scored 29 points. So they're averaging 10 points a game when he's the starting quarterback. And now they've lost another player on offense in Duvernay for the season. So they're just without a bunch of their best players on offense. And now they've also lost a couple of key players on defense. Calais Campbell's going to be out. Marcus Peters is going to be out. I think there's another player on the secondary that potentially could be out for this game. So Baltimore's just been bit by that injury bug again, and I think it's just going to catch up with them. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are pretty much one of the healthiest teams in the NFL, particularly at week 16 of the season. So I just think they're going to be able to run the ball. I know Baltimore's defense is good, but the Falcons have run the ball against some pretty strong defenses this season. So their offensive line, when they're all together and healthy, they can move players off the ball and they can gain positive yards. So I like Atlanta to keep this game close. I think 6.5 is just way too much to be laying with Tyler Huntley as the quarterback and with all the missing pieces that they have on offense and defense for the Ravens. So I like Atlanta's chances. They could win this game, but even if they don't win, I don't think it'll be by more than 3 points. So with 6.5, I'll take the points with the Falcons. So for my fourth pick, give me Atlanta plus 6.5. So for my fifth and final pick, I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals -3, heading to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. The Bengals are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. They're looking like a team that could really compete to make it back to the Super Bowl. I mean, their offense, when they got all their starting wide receivers, I think they're one of the, if not the best wide receiver group as a whole in the NFL. They're hard to stop. And Joe Burrow, when he has time and that offensive line can protect him, he just rips it up. I mean, he gets it out there to these wide receivers, Higgins and Chase and Boyd, and they're special. This is a special unit that they've got there with the Bengals, and their defense. They're one of the best, particularly in the second half with the adjustments that they just shut teams down in the second half. Like they figure out what they're doing in the first half. They make adjustments. I mean, look what happened with the game last week against the Bucks, where they were down, I believe, 17 points and just creating turnovers all through the second half. Got them back in that game and ended up blowing the Bucks out, shut them out in the second half. I mean, it was pretty dominant performance by them, and it's just what they've been doing all year. They had that long stretch where they didn't give up a touchdown in the second half. So I just think the Bengals, they're a much better team than the Patriots right now. I mean, the Patriots, they made a decent comeback against the Raiders, but they never should have even been in that game to make that terrible lateral pass that cost them the game at the end. Their offense does not look very good. Mac Jones just doesn't look comfortable. The only bright spot for them is Ramondre Stevenson in their running game. They lost Devontae Parker to injury. Jacoby Myers might be out for this game. They've got injuries on the defensive side for the Patriots. In the secondary, they might be without one of their top cornerbacks and one of their top safeties, I believe. So that is not what you want when you're going up against this Cincinnati Bengals team, who I think is like 17-3 against the spread in their last 20 games. I mean, that's outstanding. And Joe Burrow, the weather's supposed to be bad in Foxborough. Joe Burrow plays great against the spread in cold weather. It doesn't bother him at all. So, they're just a better team. Again, if I think a team's going to win, then I got to think they're going to cover the spread. I think the Bengals will win this game. They will get themselves closer to winning their division. Probably put the Patriots out of the playoffs altogether. And, get themselves one step closer to getting back to the Super Bowl. So I really like the Bengals in this game. I think they win this easily, probably by about 10 points. I think the total, what was the total? It was in the 40s. I think it's 42. So, not expecting a big game, but again, I just don't think the Patriots are going to be able to score more than, 13 points in this game. So I would probably take the under. What would it be? 27-13, 40 points. Yeah. I think the Bengals win this one comfortably. So for my fifth and final pick, give me the Cincinnati Bengals -3. So those are my 5 picks for Week 16 of the NFL Contest Show. I hope everyone out there is enjoying the holidays. I hope you're enjoying all this great football, both pro and college. You can go over to deadmoneymedia.com. There's plenty of other content for the bowl games, for the primetime NFL games. We've got the best bet picks, all that other content. Go to deadmoneymedia.com and subscribe, and you can get all that content as well. But now it's time for the Week 16 NFL Contest Show Parlay. Picks are the Washington Commanders +7, the Philadelphia Eagles money line +184, the Green Bay Packers money line +176, the Atlanta Falcons +6.5, and the Cincinnati Bengals -3. Put all 5 of those in a parlay, and it comes out to just around 54 to 1. So that'd be a great way to kick off the holiday season. Have plenty of money for the rest of the NFL season, the bowl season, and right on into the playoffs. So hopefully we can get one of those elusive 5-0s and give ourselves an opportunity in the contest and win the parlay. So once again, I hope everybody out there is enjoying the holidays. Be sure to like and subscribe the video. Enjoy all this football while we've got it, because the season's almost over. And thanks for watching.